We're talking about science and technology. We are talking about the pinnacle of Indian engineering. The Indian-made Tejas fighter jet, and we're going to roll video of that, has landed on the deck of the Made in India aircraft carrier INS Vikrant. Well, joining us now, Commodore Jaideep Maolankar, the original pilot to have landed the Tejas on the deck of India's other carrier, the first pilot to do that. That carrier is the Vikramaditya, but that was built in Russia. The significance of what you see over here is that this is an Indian aircraft carrier, and this is a Made in India fighter jet, completely designed in our country. And to actually do this, land on the tiny deck of an aircraft carrier, very, very difficult indeed. Commodore Maolankar, thanks very much for being with us. Just in simple terms, first off, sir, why is it difficult to land an aircraft on a postage stamp in the middle of the ocean?
Good evening, Vishnu. I could go on and on about that. Today's a really good day, and we can talk about aircraft carrier aviation as long as you want. A lot is normally focused on the fact about how difficult it is to land on a small ship. It is difficult because everything is moving, the ship is moving in not just in one direction, but in all directions. Today was a particularly calm sea, winter Arabian Sea is ideal. It's almost a lake. But this is going to be made for something which is monsoon seas of the Arabian Sea can also be pretty violent. So the ship moving in 6 degrees of freedom, a small aircraft, trying to make sure that she's not does not overstress any aspect of it. So it becomes like threading the needle, as in you have to land not just at a precise spot, but also in a precise attitude, at a precise speed, and in with precise attitudes, as in so that no one part of the aircraft gets overstressed. So you can imagine that it's a task of avoiding multiple cliff edges all around you. Some of them you can't see, as in speed you can't see. Some you can see very, very clearly in front of you. The back of the ship, I can assure you, looks like a cliff, and it behaves like a cliff if you go anywhere close to it.
It's a cliff that goes up and down depending on the sea state, right?
Exactly.
So, Commodore, just again for the benefit of our viewers, when the Tejas touches down on the deck of a carrier, whether it's Vikramaditya or Vikrant, what is the speed at which she lands?
So we try and keep the relative speed of the aircraft to the ship. Yes. That is what is kept as the controlling parameter. Typically, that is pegged in the region of about 130 knots. If you try and make it too slow, it means the aircraft.
So 130 knots is how many kilometers per hour?
Little less than double of that. So let's take it as 240 kilometers per hour.
And from 240 kilometers per hour to 0 kilometers per hour, in how many meters and how many seconds once you land?
In hopefully exactly 90 meters. Hopefully not 1 meter more than that or 1 meter less than that. The gear is designed to allow you to pull out exactly 90 meters and bring you to a halt at 90 meters. So it is an extremely violent thing. You know for sure that once you've been caught by once the hook has caught the wire, you're not going anywhere. You're going to stay on that ship as long as something.
No, but Commodore, again, just for the benefit of our viewers, 240 kilometers to 0 kilometers per hour in 90 meters, which is covered in what, 2 seconds?
It would be about 2.5 seconds. That's right.
So in 2.5 seconds, you're going from 240 kilometers to 0 kilometers. Again, what does that feel like?
It's extremely violent. It's extremely sporty. In fighter pilot language, we don't like to make it sound like it's too hard for us. But I can assure you that there are a lot of people who forgot to lock their harness and have a little blood on their teeth to show for it. So it throws you forward. You pretty much do not have much control of your limbs for those just 2 or 3 seconds. But the good part is, if you're feeling that deceleration, it means you've been caught. The ship is going to hold on to you. If you're not feeling that deceleration, then it's perfectly fine. You're fit to fly away cleanly from the ship.
Commodore, you were part of the team that tested, engineered, had heartbreak, had success with that very same plane, right? You've flown that very same plane when it landed on Vikramaditya, and now this is happening. So what does this achievement, this day mean to you? You retired quite recently from the Navy, but what is this, an Indian plane landing on an Indian aircraft carrier, what does that mean to you?
this is the visual which the average Indian citizen must absorb and must demand from the whole scientific community, that if this is what you can do, then give us more. This one visual encompasses, the sea, the sky, aircraft, ships, and Indian all across the board. It means it shows you very, very clearly in very strong visual language, it can be done. Don't listen to anybody who says that it can't be done. How we do it, how long we take to do it, with what quality we do it. Now that is clearly something which is completely up to us in our hands. Depends on how much effort we put in. That is one message which must go in absolutely strong and clear. It really tugs at my heartstrings whenever I walk past some random children's park and I see an HF-24 standing there, such a beautiful looking aircraft, and all those lost years. Now this message, I hope, is a very powerful, searing message. If you want to do it, it can be done. Don't allow anybody to tell you that it can't be done.
What can be done is, this particular Tejas will never be operational on our aircraft carriers. It's a test bed. But the technologies that you've tested and you've certified now can be converted into a twin-engine version of this same fighter, which will be a world beater, because we are now at that level of technology. It's not a story we are making up. It's a fact. It just needs determination and an investment and a belief.
Well, while celebrating a specific event like today's event, where an aircraft has landed on a ship, one must make sure that you enjoy and celebrate the right aspects of it, this is a symbol of what has been achieved, but one must not make light of the mountain that is ahead of us. And therefore, one must not look at technology as been there, done that, achieved it. Now I know that is technical arrogance. In fact, this should actually bring a great degree of humility. Once you've set your foot on the mountain, is when you really know how many more steps to go. Like I said, can we get there? There is absolutely no doubt. There should be absolutely no doubt in anybody's mind that we can get there. That it will be done very easily without putting in huge amounts of effort? No. That is something that we should be cautious about. Today is the day to actually say it can be done. Let us now make that serious commitment to the ships, to the aircraft, to integral air power. Let us not dither about, conceptual arguments and zero-sum games, etc., etc. Let's be absolutely clear. Our fleet deserves integral air power, and it can be made completely to your specifications, to your desires, and completely in your control.
So I love your backdrop, by the way. But a final question to you, simple question. You've spent years and years on the Tejas. What does that little fighter mean to you?
I wish it didn't take superhuman effort. I wish our system was more conducive towards R&D, and therefore it shouldn't have to take. I really am hoping for the day when these things are done as a matter of fact, and we don't end up idolizing any particular individual. So for me, yes, personally, it does. I can smell the sweat on that aircraft. But I just wish that I could have been just another test pilot and, been told what job to do, done that job, and walked away. But yes, this particular aircraft, of course, to be fair, this particular one, the single-seater, is Dahiya's favorite because it was the one
Dahiya who landed today, yeah.
No, that's the one which he took through from its initial build stages to first flight.
Right.
Whereas I would say my personal favorite is still the two-seater.
Right.
Because you do have an attachment to.
Sure.
They're not pieces of metal, they're pieces of carbon fiber, but still they have some life in them.
All right. Well, wonderful speaking to you, and let's hope that we do take this forward from a scientific and engineering perspective, but certainly from a policy standpoint as well, because India deserves a lot more. Our threats are very real. Thanks very much for being with us.